If you're listening to this, then congratulations. You'll soon be one of the few that know the truth. And by then I'll likely be gone. Not dead, just gone. Vanished, erased, snubbed out. Mark my words, it will happen. But before that day comes, I'm determined to share the information I have. Information that many would prefer to remain out of reach. But information the public deserves to know. I'll start with how I managed to get myself into this crazy mess. Right in the centre of the spider's web. Apologies in advance for the hazy details, but I'm going to have to be vague to keep them off my trail for much longer. Anyway, to put it simply, I had hit rock bottom when they found me. Homeless on the streets of Her Majesty's London, without a single helping hand in sight. At the time, their offer seemed too good to be true. £100,000 sterling, I was told, with private healthcare, house and car thrown in too. In hindsight, I should have realised it was. If you're not from the UK but have ever visited London, you'll understand what I'm about to say perfectly. Doesn't it all seem a bit, well, magical? The gold of the crown sprinkled on every street corner, postbox and lamppost, the palaces and towers that everyone visits eventually, with their guards, gates and the presence of royalty only metres away. The Houses of Parliament and the London Underground, mundane and boring to those familiar with them, yet quirky and alluring to those from outside. One of my co-workers once described London as the Disney of capital cities. And I'll be damned if that isn't exactly what they want. Put simply, it's all a front for something much greater. When you visit London, they want you to make fools of yourself, trying to make the Queen's Guard smile. They want you to buy into the excitement of royal weddings and to shake your head at the parliamentary debates. They want you to read conspiracy theories about what happened to Princess Diana, and they want you to believe them. What is the truth? I don't know, and neither will any of you. The point is that you'll sit there and ponder and never for one moment look deeper than that thin layer of magic. Because if you do, you may just find another London entirely. Whatever I expected when I first signed the contract, it was nothing compared to the truth. My job was nothing special. I was a glorified cleaner responsible for cleaning up after the All-Stars, picking up the trash and keeping my head down and mouth shut. If I recall correctly, the official term used was disposable employee. But I digress. When you work in Un-London, things are never that easy. Un-London is an enigma, something that hides in plain sight yet remains concealed to a near perfect degree. It was also worth mentioning that Un-London is only a nickname, used by those with no official business or importance there, and only spoken publicly by those with nothing to lose. Unfortunately, I am a member of both groups. Official names include SC Templar, SC1 and SC Crown, with the SC standing for Sub-City, and the rest standing for God knows what. I have reason to believe similar facilities exist in many cities in the world. with rumoured locations including the Paris Catacombs, the Vatican, and the city of Moscow, to name a few. But I have no solid evidence to support these claims. Then again, procuring evidence against a secret of this magnitude is a near impossible task, so you'll have to trust my word. Over roughly 9 months of my employment in London, I stumbled across my fair share of sensitive information. Not entirely by accident, but not outright deliberately either. Of course, it wasn't easy. What other cleaning jobs do you know that force you through 2 months of psychological examination, interrogation and conditioning before they let you near the place? And that isn't even including the security measures underground. Practically every door is magnetically sealed, openable only with the correct key card and fingerprint that changed daily. When on the job, there is never a moment when you aren't in the immediate vicinity of an armed guard, security camera or narrow-eyed supervisor. When you aren't working, you're confined to your accommodation, with every blind spot covered, every mirror two-way, and absolutely no phone service to speak of. Some call the UK the most watched country on earth, and they'd be right, because the secrets of London are that valuable. Moving on to the facility itself. London isn't a single fortified location, but a labyrinth of disused chambers, passages and bunkers stretching beneath the city of London, particularly under and around the River Thames. You won't find them on any map, and they aren't accessible through any of the known areas available to the public, only through a handful of very specific entry points within the river itself, and several mining standard elevator shafts in choice locations around the city. Don't bother asking where any of these entries are, because I was unconscious and blindfolded during the journey for obvious security reasons. Believe it or not, the history of the facility is one of the few scraps of information they willingly give to new employees, likely to create a false sense of lawfulness and security in a profession that is neither secure nor lawful. London was first founded immediately following World War II, in an effort to capitalise on the existing infrastructure of subterranean London. While everyone else was hopeful and looking to the light, they took it upon themselves to sink to new lows. Since then, the tunnels have expanded exponentially, as have the range of their functions, with the depravity and secrecy only growing with each passing decade. Let's just say that during my stint as a disposable, I saw the remnants of some mind-boggling, revolting and disturbing things. I won't go into all the details to spare your stomach, but I'll give you enough for your mind to fill in the rest. A few other disposables and I were once sent in to clean up after a round of afternoon tea. Tea, cakes and substances too rare and secret to populate the government's banned substance register. Not to mention the meat of animals on the endangered species list. Another cleaning session consisted of emptying an office following its occupant's suicide. Marked for incineration, the order had said. I suppose by now you're wondering how I know all I do, and for that I don't blame you. The life of a disposable is mostly just following orders from a faceless superior, trudging from one day to the next in silence and staying in the dark. For me, it was much the same. Until they chose to promote me. To understand my second job, you first need to understand the single biggest source of paranoia for the bigwigs behind London: the internet. A single cyber attack or incursion could expose the truth behind their actions, so within Unlondon, no communication over the internet, via phone or any equipment, modern or otherwise, is permitted. Good old-fashioned letters make up the vast majority of communications within the city, which are favoured exactly for their primitive, unhackable nature, coupled with the near zero chance of any physical material escaping the city, and you can see the appeal. This brings me onto my second job within Unlondon: a courier. Hundreds of couriers are employed within these tunnels, scurrying back and forth and providing a never-ending stream of orders, data and documents, the vast majority of which are marked classified, read once and then promptly sent to one of several huge furnaces somewhere in the complex. But in secret, and as time trickled by and hundreds upon hundreds of letters came under my supervision, I gradually built up my knowledge of the city. And it terrified me. I learnt that the level I had been employed on was only the highest of 5, each more mysterious and secure than the last. I learnt that many of the unseen figures we had heard whispers of were well-known celebrities, politicians and intellectuals. And worst of all, I learnt about the Fleming Protocol. What began as 3 words mentioned inconspicuously on an itinerary soon spiraled into a predicament that has me trapped to this day. Remember the term disposable employee? I first assumed it was intended to demean and frighten us, but in hindsight I suppose it was naive to ever assume anything in my situation. Like I said, security is their single greatest concern. And it turns out someone like me, a nobody, salvaged from the bottom and trapped between the lines, is too great a threat for them to tolerate. Whether it's simply the cold nature of Unlondon or the fear that my kind has nothing left to lose, the fact is that I don't have long left. When I first began my conditioning, I was given a medical examination that includes several different injections disguised as vaccinations. More naivety on my part, I suppose. Whatever they gave me, I can feel it growing stronger by the day, seething, throbbing and sapping what little strength I have. I know now that there'll be no happy ending for me. No meal tickets to Easy Street and no way out. They want their secrets to stay buried, trapped in legend and myth, never to see the light of day. I won't give them that luxury. So whatever the cost, I'm making my knowledge known by using my short debriefing period to do the right thing. To serve the public after so long serving the men in their high towers. Like I said, by the time you're reading this, I'll likely be gone. So I'll leave you with one last piece of advice. Next time you hear of a sensational conspiracy or a scandal too shocking to be true, or something you may immediately dismiss as improbable in the modern world, think of my story. Think of how much you really know about the back streets and the dark cellars of the world around you. And most of all, think about what you can do to bring those places into light. After all rumours start somewhere.